In this video, we're going to create an awesome looking FAQ page or accordion without using or installing Shopify apps. On top of that, you can easily customize this yeah. Now, before we start this video, I want to encourage you to back up your Shopify theme, especially if you're about to make changes to your Shopify theme files. Now, if you're not brave enough to edit your official store, you can just create a new store using the 14-day trial, or you can create a developer's account and create a development store and just use it for test purposes. Now, I'm not gonna go through all of that because they'll just make this video very, very long. So if you have your Shopify store ready to be edited, let's proceed and start working. So here I am in my development store. The first thing that we need to do is to create the page template file. So let's open the online store page and then select actions. And let's open the edit code page. Let's open that in a new tab. And let's also open the customizer page because we're going to need that later on. All right, so let's proceed to the editor. And the first thing that we need to create is the page template. So here in the templates folder, add a new file and we'll set the template for page. And we're going to call it FAQ. So page and then FAQ. Click create template and we should have the following file, and there's a pre-made HTML code, but we don't really need to customize this. All we need is to add a section underneath of the object page. So underneath of the page object, create a section tag, and let's just type opening close curly braces and then percentage symbols. And then between this, we're going to select, or we're going to use section tag. And then for the string value, we'll use page-FAQ-template. Can you guys hear the noise outside? I apologize for that. And let's hit save. And then what we're going to do next is to create the section. So here in the sections folder, add a new section and call it page-FAQ and then template. So template, so page-FAQ and then template. You know what I'm saying? All right, so create section. Let's click that. And then the first thing we need to create, or we need to customize the name of our schema. So instead of section name, we'll change this to FAQ blocks. And then instead of settings, we'll change this to blocks. That way we'll be able to add like items for our FAQ. If you want to add more questions, we can do that using blocks. So inside of the array, we're going to create the first block. So let's just select, or let's just create a set of opening close curly braces. And then the first thing that we need to set is the name for our blocks. So let's just call this FAQ items or items. Yeah, that's all right. And then next, we need to set its type to FAQ or to whatever text you want to call it. You can give your type anything. You can give it like, I don't know, like apples or oranges. I don't know, you can do whatever you want. And the next thing we need to add in here is these settings. So before we were using the name, and then underneath there's settings so we can customize our section. But this time we're going to customize the blocks. So inside of the blocks, we're going to use settings, and then this is going to need an array. So we'll just open and close brackets. I don't know what that means, but let's just proceed. First, we need to create the first setting, and that is for the question. So let's just create open and close curly braces, and then we'll set its type to text. And then underneath of the type text, we'll set its label to something like question. And then underneath of the label, we're going to set its ID to question. And then we're done. The next thing we're going to do is to create the second setting. So the second setting is for the answers. So here we'll just do the same thing, create open and close curly braces. And then we are going to set its type this time to rich text. That way we will be able to add links or set the text to bold or italic and so on. So we're going to use rich text. Next, we'll set its label to something like answer, or yeah, answer with an uppercase A, because you guys are A's, you know what I'm saying? And then next is the ID. We'll set its ID to, I apologize for that. What the hell is wrong with my voice? Answer, lowercase answer. And I think we're good to go. So let's just save this. There you go. And let's open the customizer page. And we still don't have the FAQs page, so we're going to do that. So here in the pages, let's open that in a new tab. And let's open that page and let's create that page. So select add page and let's call this FAQs. And then in the template, we're going to set and use the page.faq. Select that and hit save. And then we're going to open that in a new tab. And we should have the following page. It's empty, but if we refresh our customizer, we should have the FAQs page in the selector in the navigational bar. So here in the home page, change that to where is the pages? There is no pages yet. Let's just wait for that. And there you go. Now we should have the FAQs page here. It'll take time. If you just created the FAQs page, just keep reloading the page or the customizer page and it will show up apparently. So here it is. Let's select that. And we should have the FAQ blocks. Let's select that. And this time we will be able to add FAQ items. So let's just select that. And for the question, let's just add, do you refund fully? Yes. And then let's just add an answer of yes, we do. In fact, we also send you free gifts. Just to say that we are grateful for your existence. I don't know. Let's just save this. And then what we're going to do next is to render that question and answer. So let's go back to the editor. And then the next one we're going to do above the schema tag, let's create the container. So div, we'll give it a class of FAQ-container. And then let's just close that. And then inside of this container, we're going to create the div tabs or the accordion. That's what we're going to do in this course, in this video. So let's just create the div and let's give it a class of tabs. And let's just close this. And inside of these tabs, we're going to loop through inside of our blocks. So we're going to use the for tag. So for each block inside of our section blocks, we are going, make sure that you use the and for. So let's just do that. And for. So for each block inside of our section blocks, we're going to create a variable honestly. So let's do that. So assign, let's use assign tag, and let's call this variable FAQ or question. And then we're going to assign the block.settings, like so. Let's close that. And then what we're going to do next is to display the title, not the title, but instead the question and then the answer. So let's create another div and let's give it a class of tab. Make sure that you close the class attribute, and then we'll also close the div. And inside of this tab, we'll start creating the checkbox, because that's what we're going to use to enable and disable the accordion, because we have accordion to open and to close. So if the checkbox is checked, it will open the accordion. If it's unchecked, then it will close the accordion. So let's just create the input and let's set its type to checkbox. And then we'll give it a class of checkbox, or let's just be specific and use FAQ checkbox, because we don't know, maybe there's an element in this theme that we're using in Deview that uses the checkbox class. So you have to be very specific with your classes. And here we'll just change the I guess we're good now. Or no. We need to set the ID to FAQ_checkbox, because we're going to create the label. So next, underneath of the input type checkbox, we're going to create the label, and then we'll set its for to FAQ_checkbox. And then we'll close the label. And then inside of this label, we're going to use the object or the variable question. And then we'll use the question ID. You know what? Instead of question, we'll change this to item. And then the question, change it to item. That way, you'll never get confused. So item and then the question inside of our block or settings. And then next, I think we can save this for now. Let's see what it looks like. So let's just open our FAQs page, hit refresh, and we should have the following checkbox and do you refund fully. So if we select the label, it will check the checkbox. Awesome. So we're making a progress. So let's open the editor once again. And this time we're going to create the answer div. So let's just create the div. and we'll give it a class of tab-content. Let's close it. And inside of this div, we're going to use, of course, the item object or variable, and then we'll use the answer ID. So answer, like so, and then hit save. Let's open our FAQs page, hit refresh, and there you go. We should have the question as well as the answer. Now, all we need to do is to design our FAQ accordion. So let's do that. Open your editor once again, and this time we're going to create a new file inside of our assets folder. So open the assets, add a new asset, and select create a blank file, and we'll call it FAQ.css or css.liquid. So select that and click add asset. And then what we're going to do next to open that file, so here in the asset, we should have the FAQ.css.liquid. Open that file. The first thing that we need to design is the checkbox. So we're going to select the FAQ-checkbox. I believe that's correct. So FAQ checkbox class. Awesome. So let's go back in here, open and close the curly braces. The first thing that we need to set is its position. So let's just type position and set it to absolute. And then next, the opacity. So opacity, and then set it to 0. And lastly, the z index, set it to -1. And then next, we're going to use the tabs class. And instead of the selector, we're going to set its, I guess, border radius, just to give it a design a bit. And we'll set it to 10 pixels. And next is the overflow, because we don't want to display the answer as soon as we load the page. So overflow, set it to hidden. And then the next selector we're going to select is the tab class. So tab, and we'll just set its width to 100% and color to white. And we'll also set its overflow to hidden. Next up is the label. I think we don't have a class for that. So label for checkbox, we'll just add a class here. And we'll give it a class of tab label. Let's just save this, open the CSS, and then here we'll select that class. So tab label, and then we'll just set its display to flex. And we need to set this to important, honestly, because they've used already using display block, I believe, especially for labels. So we need to use important. And then underneath of the display, we're going to use justify content. We'll set it to space between. Next up, we'll set its padding to 1 EM and font weight to bold. Then we'll also set its cursor to pointer. All right, so next up, we'll just set its color to white. All right, next up is the, you know what? We could add icons for the tab label. So let's just use that tab label, and then we'll use the after selector. And then for the selector, we'll use the content and give it like plus symbol. And then if we close the accordion, it will use the minus symbol. And then next up, let's just end that with semicolon. Next up, we'll set its width to something like 1 EM. And we'll also set its height to 1 EM. And also, we can set its text align to center. And then I also want to... we can add animation honestly here, but never mind, we're not going to do that. But if you want, you can use transition. And then you can add all and then the milliseconds, so 0.5 seconds, something like that. And the next up is the tab content. So let's just add the tab content class. And first we need to set its maximum height to 0 because we don't want to be displaying the content as soon as we load the page. So let's set its max height to 0. And then the padding, we'll set it to 0 and then 1 EM. And then for its background, we can just set it to the background color. We'll just set it to white for now. And then we can also use the same transition. So transition and set it to all and then 0.5 seconds. And I think we're almost done. So the last thing that we need to do is to give our FAQ an attention. And then that is the FAQ-checkbox. And we're going to use the checked selector, so checked. So if the checkbox is checked, then we're going to change the icon to minus. So we can do that by using a combinator. And we'll just select the tab panel, or tab label, that's what I meant. And then that should be the after. And then we're going to select the content and change it to minus symbol, like so. And next, if we open the accordion, it should maximize the height of the content. So we'll do the same thing, select the checkbox selector or class, and then it should use the checked. And another combinator, instead of plus, honestly, we're going to use the tilde symbol. And then we'll use the tab content. And then for this, we'll set its maximum height to 100 VH. And lastly, we can set its padding to 1 EM, like so. And I think we're almost done. The last thing that we need to do is to use the HTML, the CSS. So let's just save the CSS, and then we'll open the theme.liquid. So let's open the theme.liquid, and then we'll look for the closing of the head tag. So you can press Ctrl F and type the following, and then head, like so. And that should give you the following head tag or closing head tag. And then underneath of the content for header, or just the very bottom or before the closing head tag, you can use the object, and then we'll type in here the CSS. So faq.css, and we're going to use the filter called asset URL. So asset URL, and we'll also use the filter called style sheet underscore tag. And I think we're good now. So if we save this, and if we open our FAQs page, hit refresh, we should have nothing. It's white space because the background for our label is white as well. And the label is white as well. So what we're going to do is to set its background color to the background color of our button. So let's go back to the editor. That's what I'm trying to say. And then let's open the FAQ.css. And here in the tab label, we should use the background color, and then we're going to use the settings, and I think we can open the theme.css.liquid, or here the theme CSS. Let's open that, and let's look for the primary colors, primary, and we should have the variables here. I'm not really sure where they are, but let's just open them. I think it's the variable.css. All right, so it's not in here. Let's open the customizer, honestly. And then I think it's in the theme settings, colors, and we should have the following colors. So primary buttons, we should look for that in the theme.liquid or theme.css. It should be primary buttons. It's not in here. Oh, it's not here in the theme.css, supposed to be inside the config, my bad. So config folder and then settings schema.json. That's where the variables are located. So here we're going to search for the primary buttons. And then we should have the following ID. So ID, color, button. So that's what we're going to use. So let's go back to faq.css. And here in the settings object, settings.color underscore button. I think I was correct. Am I correct? So color button, awesome. And then let's just end this with semicolon and hit save. And let's go back to FAQs page, hit refresh. And there you go. Now we should have the following FAQ accordion. So if we select this, it should open the answer, or the content, the type content. Now we can add more questions. Let's open the FAQ blocks, add a new item. Let's just give this something like, do you ship internationally? And then the answer is apparently, yeah. Let's just hit save. And let's open the FAQs page, hit refresh. And there you go. Now we have the following FAQ page, and we can open the first one. You know what? Yeah, we have a problem, honestly. If we select the second question, it will open the first answer instead. So we can fix that by going to the editor, and then here in the page FAQ template, in our class, in our label for checkbox, we can concatenate the ID of the block. So here we can just add FAQ checkbox underscore, and then concatenate the block.id. And we'll do the same for the ID for our input. So let's just copy the underscore until the block ID. You know what? Let's just type it manually. So underscore, and then two opening close curly braces, and then block.id. And then let's just save that. Again, underscore, and then block ID. You just need to concatenate that Do the same thing for the label for attribute and save that. Now let's open the FAQs page once again, hit refresh, and this time it should open the second answer. There you go. And we can also open the first one. And the great thing about this is that we can also customize the color of our FAQ accordion. So we can just do that in our customizer and here in the FAQ blocks or in our theme settings in colors, we'll be able to change the primary color to something else. So let's just change that to something like red. And there you go. As you can see, it's changing the color of our accordion as well. So that's how you use setting schema. And there you have it, guys. We have created an awesome looking FAQ page or accordions without installing Shopify apps. And you can easily customize this using the customizer page, or you can even design this easily using the customizer page, which is honestly awesome. Now, if you want to add something else before the FAQs or accordion, you can do that using the page editor. You can put anything you want in there. You can put a description, an image, and so on using the page editor. And once you have that saved, you should be able to have something like this. And that's it for this video, guys. If you want more something like this, you can hit the subscribe button, and also you can hit the like button. Why did I do this for the subscribe button? Anyway, hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm. And if you want more something like this, you can hit that